6 dates to watch. One of them being today, Tuesday the 23rd of January 2018, and the last one being Friday 9th of March 2018. And I said dates to watch for signs in nature. There'll be signs in nature acting as a heads up on the first 5 dates, acting as a heads up for Friday 9th of March 2018. And it's storming right now where I am. It's 10:17 p.m. Tuesday, January 23, 2018, and that's on the Australian East Coast with daylight saving time. And the current time is also shown here in Canberra, which is there. Canberra, the capital city of Australia, and it's 10:17 p.m. And just looking at the new tab of what's happening at the moment, I just noticed there's a warning for a tsunami after a large earthquake. So I'm just going to click on that and see what this is about, because I knew a volcano went off in Japan today, and that caused an avalanche, which unfortunately one person died as a result of that. So just waiting for this story to come up. Can't reach the page, probably because it's storming. So I'm going to have to try that again. Anyway, obviously there's been an earthquake, a big earthquake somewhere. That's a big one, 8.2. That's huge. So I only just noticed that. So that's pretty full on. I was going to show and I still will, the bomb of what's happening where I live at the moment. Basically we have some storms coming through where I am. I'm in this area just here. So we've got a line of storms coming in from the west, and you can see there. It's universal time, which is 11 hours behind the time where I am. 23rd of the 1st, 2018. And it's been storming here for quite a while. Earlier on tonight, the radar made a nice W, which is pretty cool, because Jacob Wetterling means weather child, and that's the name of the boy who has, one of the boys at least, who has inspired my prophecy. Jacob Wetterling is a weather prophecy boy. So 1019. 19 is the keystone number in The Dark Tower by Stephen King. And, ooh, I just saw the lightning then. So the storms are coming. Yep. And to put things in perspective, I'll see if I can open this. Off Alaska. Magnitude 7.9 quake off Alaska prompts tsunami warning. Oh wow. Alaska. So a magnitude 7.9 earthquake hit the Gulf of Alaska in the early hours of Tuesday, prompting warnings of a possible tsunami down the Canadian and US west coast, and as far away as Hawaii. Wow. This is a tsunami warning. This is not a drill. Please get to higher ground, said the announcer on KMXT public radio. If you're on the flats, get up on one of the hills, just go high. Wow. So yeah, if it's 7.9 on the Richter scale, that's pretty intense. That could definitely cause a big tsunami. Yeah. So poor old Hawaii are copying it, aren't they? They just had a warning the other day. So what time was it? 1:39 a.m. on January 23, 2018. Earthquake hits Alaska. Well, there's a sign in nature definitely. That's a big sign in nature. But as I was saying, Hawaii had the nuclear alert go off just the other day, and now they got alerts going off for tsunami. My God, poor Hawaiians. Anyway, it looks like there's going to be a little story attached to this, so maybe I'll try play it. No, it won't play. There'll be plenty on the news about this anyway, because that's a pretty big earthquake. And potentially a big tsunami if it was a tsunami generating earthquake. I'm sure it will generate at least a small one. So what's the storms doing? They're coming closer, and a national there's the national picture, the national radar for right now. So the area, my part of the world, is lighting up a fair bit. It's a fair bit of activity. That's Wagga, and this is Canberra. There's a lot of activity up north at the moment too, with a big active monsoon happening. And if I click on, there's the current satellite image and current temperatures. So it's dropped to 25 in Canberra with the rain. It was 30 earlier. Like 30 only maybe an hour and a half ago. And Canberra's expecting a bit of a wet week this week. So yeah, I guess anyone could say, oh, you just made up the first date because something happened. But no, I actually posted some videos a while ago where I said Tuesday 23rd of January was the date to watch for a sign in nature. I didn't mention January 27 or 31st in my first video, but I did mention the 7th of February and the 16th of February. Those dates there were the anniversaries of Black Saturday. 7th of February was 2009, and that's when 13-year-old Nathan Breeze died, and he's one of the boys who's behind my prophecy. So Jake equals 27, like the letters in the name Jake, J-A-K-E. If you add them up by their place in the alphabet, Jake is 27, Jacob is 31, and Nathan was 13. So there's a reflection there. Black Saturday, the 9th anniversary, falls on a Wednesday, and the anniversary of Ash Wednesday is 9 days later, but it falls on a Friday. And it's kind of weird because Nathan was actually one of 9 people who died at 9 Pine Ridge Road in Kinglake West in Victoria. And so it's the 9-year anniversary, and 9 days after the 9-year anniversary, it's the anniversary of Ash Wednesday, but it falls on a Friday. Black Saturday falls on a Wednesday, the anniversary. And the other anniversary, which is Black Friday was on the 13th of February 1939. Well, that date this year, 13th of January, was a Saturday. So it's like all the anniversaries are on each other's days of the week. And then the final date, Friday 9th of March 2018, is my best friend's birthday. And there's something weird about that too. See, as you can see, Canberra's expecting storms every day for the rest of this week. Chance of. With a higher chance towards the end of the week, maybe. Where it says 1 to 8 mil. And getting a bit cooler, finally. It's been really hot here for the last week. More than the last week. But now it's getting humid as well. And rainy and stormy. And this is the names of tropical cyclones for this year. Dahlia was named by the Indonesians. Dahlia formed just below Java, Indonesia. And that was around the end of November. And then Hilda, Irving and Joyce formed more recently. and were named by the Australian Bureau of Meteorology, those three. But Irving was a very sneaky boy. He formed out near Cocos Island out in the middle of the Indian Ocean. And no one knew about Irving. Well, the Bureau knew about Irving, but he left Australian waters almost straight away. So the people at the Weather Channel, Sky News Weather Channel, they didn't realise Irving had happened. And so they were saying that Joyce was going to be Irving right up until the day before Joyce formed. So Irving tricked everyone. He was a prankster and a practical joker, which is a bit like the boy who told me that Wetling means weather child. He's a bit of a practical joker too. Then Kelvin, Linda, Marcus, Nora, Owen, Penny, Riley and Savannah are the ones yet to come. And if you add up the letters in all these names plus the word and, you get 700. It adds up to 741. So like D is 4, A is 1, etc. all the way through. 741 is the value of all that. And that's interesting when you think about this. My best friend was born, he was born on Saturday, the 9th of March 2000, and no, Saturday the 9th of March 1991. And he's turning 27 on Friday 9th of March 2018. So he's born on Saturday, and he's turning 27. And if you count 741 days backwards from Friday 9th of March, you land on Saturday, the 27th of February, 2016. And 2016 was the year that Jacob Wettling's remains were found, or the year that his killer led the FBI and the police to his remains. So, a bit of a devil year for Jake, as far as Jake's concerned. And it's interesting because 2016 is actually 666 times 3 plus 6 times 3. Which is why Jake says it's a bit of a devil year. And 27 years it was since Jake was murdered, because he was murdered on Sunday 22nd of October 1989. And I started calling Jake the Storm Boy from the week leading up to his birthday in 2012. And then a couple of years later, at the start of May in 2014, I was talking to this boy at work who grew up in Germany. He's not German, but he grew up in Germany. He's Australian. But he knew some German, having lived in Germany, having grown up in Germany at a young age. And he said that it's interesting that you call Jake the Storm Boy, because that name, Wetterling, he said that actually means weather child in German. And I was like amazed to hear that, because I already had started calling Jake the Storm Boy for reasons that go back to Jake's birthday in 2012. His birthday coincided with a huge storm that hit Mikalago village. And that storm also coincided with the funeral of a little girl who died of leukemia. And it was thundering and threatening during the funeral. But then the storm came in during the wake at the hall, and it was a huge storm. That's a pretty cool squall line that's going through Canberra right now, actually. I hear a fair bit of thunder from here, but it's quite a long way from us. Kind of, well, not that far, I suppose. And then it was the biggest storm Mikalago village has ever seen. It actually dumped 112 mils of rain in that one storm, heaps of hail, and the railway bridge collapsed. Like the embankment collapsed. So it was a pretty big deal. And that's why I started calling Jake the Storm Boy. I actually predicted that storm because I watched the video clip. A few things happened. I went for some walks and saw heaps of orange butterflies. Then I took a photo of some thunderclouds as I was driving to work. And I happened to snap a wedge-tailed eagle in the photo that I took. So I started to associate Jake with eagles and with storms. So you can imagine how amazed I was when I was talking to Jake's dad years later. And I said, was Jake like creative? Was he artistic? Well, I said, was he creative? And his dad said, well, actually, yes. He said he was rather artistic. Quite an artistic sort of kid. And this is Jake. And he said when he was in primary school, he actually made a paper mache bald eagle. And I was amazed because I'd already connected Jake to eagles. And then when I photographed that eagle, I knew the eagle was there, but I didn't expect to catch it in the shot because I was driving, and I just held the camera out the window and went chunk with it on zoom. So the chances of getting the eagle in the shot were minimal, but I did, and I got it clearly. I still have the photo somewhere. And this is the boy who I've connected to Nathan, to Jacob, sorry. This is Nathan Breeze, and that's Nathan's sister Amy sitting down next to him, or Nathan's friends in the chair behind him. Now, tragically, Nathan and Amy and their mom and their little sister all died in the Black Saturday firestorms. And that's one of the dates, you might recall, that I have said there's going to be a sign, is the 7th of February, the 9th anniversary of Black Saturday, which is when Nathan died. And they died in their next door neighbour's house. They lived at number 7 on Pine Ridge Road, but they died at number 9. And they had spent all afternoon trying to evacuate. Another photo of Nathan being Nathan. A lot of chocolate. And Nathan was quite a character. Very similar to Jake. Same personality. He's wearing a t-shirt that to me looks suspiciously like Blaine, the train from the Dark Tower, but I can't be sure. I could enlarge the photo maybe. It does look like a train, but I'm not quite sure. It's hard to know. But the Dark Tower by Stephen King, Jake Chambers has quite an interesting encounter with a train, which he says Blaine is a pain and that is the truth. And it's kind of interesting because there's a few things about Jake and Nathan that I find very interesting. Another photo of Nathan. So Nathan was 13 and Jake was 11 going on 12, so they weren't too far apart in age, but they were a long way apart in time in terms of when they died. Jake was 1989, Nathan was 2009, so it's 20 years apart. They obviously never knew each other in this world, but I think they know each other in the world they're in now. And I know a bit about Jake and Nathan. I know more than I should know, put it that way. About their personalities, about even everything, including their sexuality. Very similar, even though Nathan was more straight. Jake was actually a bit more same-sex attracted. I'm pretty sure. Nathan did actually have a girlfriend. And he was a real character, and so was Jake. I can see why they'd be best friends. Anyway, that's them. Both have surnames that relate to weather, Breeze and Wetterling. And they're both very much involved with this prediction I'm making. And I'm not too surprised that something is happening on this date. Why did I choose these dates? I couldn't even tell you now why I chose these dates. I've forgotten the logic of it. Except these two are obvious, because Jake equals 27
Nathan died on a Saturday, and Jacob equals 31, and something happened to me when I was 13 on a Wednesday, but that was the 6th of December, which one was one of the dates I flagged recently, the 6th of December, for that reason. So there is logic in all of this. Another date I flagged was the 22nd of December. That was the birthday of Ebony Simpson, who maybe I can zoom, maybe my camera can zoom. My camera's getting a bit old. So that's Ebony Simpson, and her birthday was on Friday, 22nd of December. A meteor made a sonic boom over Canberra that night, at 9:26 to be precise. So that's Ebony Simpson, who actually lives, well, Ebony doesn't, but her mum lives nearby. For me. Like, I am near Mickalego, and Ebony's mum lives at Captain's Flat. So we're not far apart. But back when Ebony was murdered, they lived at Bargo, up in the Southern Highlands. So yeah, it's trying to storm. It is storming, I guess. And that's the time now, 10:38. So I've been going with this video for a little while. 10:38. And something else that could be relevant to this prediction of mine is Have Faith Josh 10:9:45. That was a message I saw in a dream on Saturday, 12th of May 2012. And yeah, so that could become part of it. Have Faith Josh 10:9:45. And that's why I predicted, the boy who told me Wetterling means weather child, I predicted Hurricane Jose for his birthday, which was Wednesday the 6th of September 2017. And that's why. Because Have Faith Josh 10, Jose was the 10th storm. And I said Jose will make landfall at 9:45 p.m. But Jose actually became a hurricane on the 6th of September last year. And Irma was then a much bigger hurricane with winds of 185 miles an hour, which is like hectic. Quite a small photo. So yeah, Nathan, definitely quite the character indeed. And there's a few times where Nathan and Jake are wearing something that symbolically does mean something very much. The Dark Tower by Stephen King. Actually, the first thing I connected to Jake was volcanoes rather than storms, and that's going back to 2010, just after I found out who Jake was. A big volcano erupted in Iceland. It has a name I can't pronounce, but that went off just a couple of months after I first found out who Jake was. This is Nathan, not Jake. It's Nathan Breeze, who is very closely connected to Jake in the spiritual realm. And I found out Nathan's birthday recently. Jake and Nathan were both born on Friday, and their birthdays both fell on a Friday last year, as did Ebony's, also on a Friday. Ebony's birthday, Friday 22nd of December. Nathan's, Friday 24th of November. Jacob's, Friday 17th of February. And I discovered something interesting. If you count the number of days between Jake's birthday and Nathan's birthday, it's 85. 85 is actually the value of storm. And I think that, yeah, is very fitting for these particular boys. I mean, Nathan died in a firestorm.
Jake, I started calling him Storm Boy, then found out his name means Weather Child, Wetterling, and Breeze. Nathan Breeze. Both got weather-related surnames. And Nathan died in a weather-related event. Jake died as the victim of an abduction by a sexual predator. But just before Jake died, like a few weeks before he died, America got slammed by a massive hurricane, Hugo. And the guy whose weather blogs I follow, and who I've learnt the most from about hurricanes, is Jeff Masters from Weather Underground. And Jeff Masters flew through Hurricane Hugo with the hurricane hunters and almost died in the process. And he describes that on his blog, on his website. And it's quite a harrowing story when you read it. So Have Faith Josh 10 9:45. So if I change location, because Queensland does not have daylight saving. So let's go to, say, Cairns. Cairns, Queensland, Australia, where it's 9:43. And soon it's going to be 9:45, and that's when I'm going to finish the video. Because Have Faith Josh 10 9:45 was the message. I wonder if there's been any other crazy events today apart from earthquakes, and they fixed it to 7.9 magnitude. Possible breakthrough in the Beaumont case. Yeah. Not too much change in the radar, in the storm situation. I guess you'd say it's settling down now. We had some huge thunderclaps earlier. It's crazy. While I was having dinner. And it's 9:44. 45 is actually in Canberra's longitude too. And say goodnight, Nathan. Jacob, sorry. And Nathan. Because it's nearly 9:45. Have Faith Josh 10 9:45. And when you consider that along with all this, then it could fit in somewhere. The meteor was at 9:26 on the 22nd of December. The other date I flagged was the 7th of January. And that turned out to be the hottest day. It had the second hottest temperature ever recorded for the Sydney Basin, which was 47.3 at Penrith. So it is now 9:45 PM, and this is in Cairns, Queensland, Australia. So I'm going to say goodnight now. First we'll just see what the temperature is. 22 degrees. And 27 in Darwin. Nathan was quite familiar with Darwin. Jake died on the 22nd. Perth, it's also 27. 23 in Sydney, and today's 23rd. Good night.